One of the things I love about Japan, and maybe they have this in other countries too, but they have hot drinks available at the convenience store, like regular bottled drinks. You know, it's usually refrigerated. There's always a section where it's heated drinks, and same thing goes for the vending machines. There's always a row of hot drinks. So it's really useful in the winter. Like sometimes I don't even necessarily need a hot drink, but I need something to warm my hands. And so it's a perfect kill two birds with one stone kind of situation. But yeah, this is relevant to our stream today because the stream is about OMAD. It's an acronym for one meal a day. It's kind of a controversial like diet or weight loss method, or you could just call it, I mean, I don't like to use the word diet, so I just call it a method, right? A style of eating. It would be considered a more extreme version of intermittent fasting. OMAD is a type of intermittent fasting, technically speaking, right? Because in intermittent fasting, what happens is that you decide on a window of time, usually like 8 hours or maybe 6 hours if you're being a little more strict, and you eat all your meals of the day during that 6 or 8 hours. And then the rest of the 24 hours in the day, you fast, right? You don't ingest any calories, including liquid. So you would be drinking either water or black coffee, anything that has very minimal to zero calories for the remaining, like for example, if you fast for 8 hours in the day, no, if you eat for 8 hours in the day, then you would be fasting for 16 hours, the remaining 16 hours. And OMAD is essentially just the most extreme version of that. If you eat one meal, it's essentially eating for 1 hour or 2 hours, however long you want to enjoy your food, and then the rest of the day, 22 hours or 23 hours, you're fasting. So I, like everything else, I kind of just fell into this, which I know sounds really weird because it's a very extreme thing to do. Like most people don't eat only one meal a day. Even the people that do intermittent fasting, or the fitness girlies, like the skinny girlies on social media. I feel like there's a whole skinny renaissance movement going on right now. By the way, did anybody else catch that? I feel like in the 90s, it was the whole heroin chic aesthetic was trending, and even bleeding over to the early 2000s, right? Super skinny was in. Every single celebrity was super skinny, 90 pounds to 120 tops, that kind of a range. And then we went into the BBW, or no, BBL. BBL is Brazilian butt lift, right? So yeah, we went into the BBW era of aesthetics, at least in the Western world. Skinny has always been in, it's always been king in Asia, but globally, we kind of went into the BBW era with the Kim Kardashian and the really voluptuous, curvy bodies, a lot of times achieved through surgical help. But now we're going back to the whole heroin chic aesthetic, it seems. But like, I don't know, maybe not as unhealthy as before. But yeah, where was I going with this? How I fell into OMAD. Okay, well, let me just say also, I need to preface this by saying that I was thinking this whole week, right? And I've been slammed by work lately too. I think I mentioned that in my last couple of videos, but yeah, it's not letting up. This week was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was absolutely crazy. Then by Thursday and Friday, I was able to catch a breather. But I am of the belief, and I teach on this channel, that everything works out in my favor. And that's because I choose every moment to turn every situation into something that works in my favor, even though I might have an initial knee jerk bad reaction to it, or I might initially see it as a negative occurrence. Maybe it's something that most people, or in most situations, it would be taken as something negative. I have been developing my superpower, or my alchemy powers, as I like to call them, of turning even those events to work in my favor, right? Like looking at them in a way, changing my perception of those events in a way to make it ultimately fit my overall narrative that I've chosen for myself, that everything works in my favor. So even like being slammed at work, to the point where, I'm not joking you, there were literal days where I thought, okay, 24 hours is like not enough time to cover all of this stuff that I have to monitor. It wasn't even just physical workload per se, it was just juggling so many different clients and people in different time zones, and people not responding on time, just having to keep track of all of that. I mean, classic project management stuff, I guess you could say, but kind of on steroids, because it was also, this is like a role that has responsibilities and actual technical tasks that I'm just not used to. Like I haven't received training on it. And so that's like one of the huge problems that's going on. Anyway, I'm not going to make this whole stream about work, but we're short staffed basically. So there's like no training, but they need people to step up to do some of the more complicated tasks. And so that's kind of the position that I found myself in. Like I have to take on these more complex tasks and projects that it's not in my original job description, but there's no choice really because nobody else can, like they just don't have the manpower in the other departments to take care of it. So yeah, so I had to basically like they threw me in the deep end and I had to sink or swim. And like in the moment, I mean, did it suck to have to all of a sudden, like I've been cruising along this whole time, having a pretty comfy life with my original position, which was not that high stakes, right? Like I was able to get my work done really quickly and then pretty much just chill for the rest of the day. And I've been skating by for a long time that way. But then now, since all of these new responsibilities are suddenly thrust upon me, I really had to like spend 6 to 8 hours overtime per day, sometimes, not even joking, which was really not enjoyable in the moment, right? Because there's like a million things that I would rather do than to be doing overtime at my day job. But you know me, I'm gonna make sure that my mind focuses on the positive that I can get from that situation, right? So instead of me feeling exhausted or focusing on the fact that this is taking away from my time doing my hobbies or doing the things that I'm passionate about, such as YouTube, I just focused on how is this benefiting me, right? So first of all, it's going to be a shit ton of overtime pay that I can now use towards my Dubai trip in December. That's a plus. And then also, very unexpectedly, but like at the same time, in hindsight, it makes total sense. I can tell, like I can almost see that, oh, of course, you know, the universe orchestrated it exactly this way, that somehow, some way, it led me to actually implementing and sticking with OMAD for today was the fifth day, so 5 days in a row. And I'm actually, see, I don't want to say it out loud because I feel like it's gonna jinx things, but no, I feel like at this point, because this is also like the point of me doing this live is to take you through this journey with me and then show you how, like how I got to the conviction that this time is different from all the other times that I attempted intermittent fasting or some sort of diet or some sort of like change in eating habits, change in lifestyle. We're on the fifth day already, so that's already longer than I normally last, which is, I feel like once you get over the 3 day hump, maybe you're not 100% in the clear, but I would say like by the fourth day, you're 80% in the clear. And then if you can maintain whatever you're trying to do for a week, this doesn't even have to pertain to only food. If you can just maintain, like, whether you're picking up a new hobby or you're trying to do intermittent fasting or, you know, what have you, you're trying to study a new language, if you can really be consistent every day for a week, it's not even about how much you accomplish in that week, like volume wise. It's more about just proving to yourself something happens to your psyche. Something clicks into place in your psyche where it's like now you know for sure without a shadow of a doubt that you're going to follow through with this because you've already proven it to yourself consistently every day for the past week. You know what I mean? And then what I like to say, my immediate, I don't know if you would call this an affirmation or like a self-programming phrase that comes up to me immediately whenever I experience something like this in my life where I just out of nowhere I get this surge of not motivation, like motivation is not even the right word. Motivation is too surface level. When I just get this conviction, right? And like everything is aligned for me to put my mind to something and then follow through with it and stick to it for an extended period of time. There's this programming that's at work in the back of my mind. And the way I like to phrase it is that I will never betray myself. For some reason, those words are super powerful to me. This is the thing about affirmations, right? Like they're very, very specific to the individual person. I think people overlook this a lot when they talk about affirmations as, you know, one of the classic techniques for manifestation. Like, of course, if you're just getting started out, you watch a bunch of videos about affirmations and how to use them to help you get your manifestation, or like, you know, there's a million people online right now. Also, people sell affirmation packages too. There's like coaches out there. I mean, I'm not hating, whatever works. If their clients are happy, then surely whatever they're doing is working. But like, yeah, people actually, because there's people out there that are like, oh, well, I don't know how to affirm, or I don't know how to choose the right affirmations, choose the right wording to truly like activate what I'm trying to manifest. So like people will actually pay coaches to make custom affirmations for them, or affirmation tracks, things like that. And if that works for you, great, you know. But once you get to the point where you're really trying to, like, you're really honed in on something specific, you realize that everyone's life, everyone's manifestation and desires are like, yes, there are common threads. Obviously, we all want to be wealthy, we all want to be in good health, you know, we want to be in love, all of the things that life has to offer. But at least from my perspective, I just feel like I realize that there's, sorry, I'm still on, right? I'm on my phone today, so a little bit worried. Sometimes it gets glitchy, but I think it'll be fine. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh my god, no, I'm sorry. Affirmations or like, desires, right? Like there's common desires, but I realize that I don't know. My perspective is that everyone's personal idea, the overall concept is the same, right? Like we want to be wealthy, we want to have an amazing, blissful relationship. We want like happiness in our everyday lives, being able to be happy, being able to be in our dream body. These are all things that millions and billions of people can relate to desiring, but the actual details, like the nuances of those desires, are very, very different. They vastly differ from person to person, right? And so that's why I'm of the belief that affirmations, like there's only a certain point to where you can use generic affirmations, the one size fits all variety, which is great. Like I personally have used that. I had a period where I would listen to affirmation tapes, like 8-hour tapes throughout the night as I was sleeping. I feel like it helped. I feel like I got results. Whether you can attribute that directly to the affirmations penetrating my subconscious when I was asleep or not, or whether you can, you know, you could say that I was just lucky, or that, like, okay, by the time that I finished listening to affirmations every night for a month straight, that was the coincidentally the time that we were starting to, or places were starting to lift the COVID regulations, so it doesn't really count, but it doesn't matter, right? Because everything's connected. Of course, if you look for the logical, practical explanation, you're going to find it because we live in a 3D reality. But I choose to see all the pieces of the puzzle working together, like every single piece, the practical explanation, the metaphysical explanation, the message and the affirmations that I was listening to at night while I was asleep. I feel like all of those play a part in getting me to where I am here now. So anyway, OMAD though. Yeah, I was thinking to myself this whole week, like, what am I going to talk about? I really want to live stream at the end of the week when I have time, like, you know, when I'm finally done with these projects or these clients that won't get off my back. I'm going to have time on Friday night, and if I have the energy, if I'm up, if the stars aligned, I really want to live stream, but I don't know what to live stream about. So I was thinking about that the whole week, but then I was telling myself that, no, don't worry. When the time comes, it will literally hit you like a lightning bolt out of the sky. And then I realized that because I was kind of like, I was planning to do a video on OMAD in the future sometime. Like, basically, I plan to do this until December 25th at least, which is the day that I leave for Dubai again. Yeah, I hope I just didn't just jinx myself by saying that. But no, I don't believe in jinxes. I believe in me, my own power, in programming my own life. So we're gonna dead that irrational fear right there. But yeah, so I wanted to like do that, and then I thought it would be nice to come on and make a video about that after I did it for a month or something. But then I realized that why wait though if I'm already getting the downloads right now. So yeah, it's still early in the process. Like it's only 5 days. It hasn't been even a full week yet, but I feel like 5 days, again, like I said, as long as you're over the 3 day hump, you have something there, right? Like this is not something that I'm going to stop. I can feel it. It's just, it's different now. So let's do this intro. I'm gonna say, okay, why OMAD? And then how did I fall into it? And then what exactly do I do? Like, what do I eat? What have I been eating? What do I do during the 22 hours that I'm not eating? Hint, it involves drinking a lot of fluids. Water, very low calorie fluids like this lemon tea. And then there's another important part. I'm smiling to myself because this part is embarrassing, but I have to share it because it's part of the Like, it's literally part of the reason why I've been so successful for 5 days in a row. So, like, I don't want to share it, but I'm gonna share it because what's the point of even teaching this if I'm not honest with my own process, right? Okay, so basically what happened is that when I went to Dubai last month, it's been a little over a month since I came back from my first Dubai trip. It's the first time that I went over my upper limit threshold for my weight. So, you know, everyone, I feel like most girls at least can relate to fluctuating within a certain weight range. And then once you get past the upper limit, that's when you start to kind of panic. Am I right? And so, to be honest, if I'm like really 100% honest, which I will be because there's no reason not to lay it all out on the table at this point. This is something that I've actually like if I really am honest with myself and I don't really want to admit it, but at this point I feel like okay, I'm ready to admit it. I have not been happy with my weight for the past several years now. Like maybe trying to think. Yeah, I guess like maybe since I turned 30, so the past 4 years. Okay, let me start at the beginning. These are my standards. This is what I'm comfortable with for myself. So to each their own. If you feel like that's an unhealthy weight or something, you're entitled to feel that. Or if you feel like for you, that would be ridiculous to try and aim for a certain weight, that's also totally valid. Like, you know your body and your own preferences, you know what works for you. You don't need to like attack or judge me. I know my body. I've always felt the best. Like, I felt the most at home when I was 48 kilograms. And I was able to maintain, so like I was kind of chubby throughout middle school and high school by Asian standards, like not by normal standards, but chubby in the sense that like not fat, but you couldn't really, I have a natural hourglass shaped body, right? I think it's like something gamin if you're talking about kibble body types. I haven't gotten professionally assessed or anything, but it's like okay, yeah. I feel like I'm a soft gamin because I have like a very, very pronounced hourglass shape when I'm at my top weight. Not numerical wise, but ideal wise. So 48 kilograms. But I'm not like super ripped, right? Like I'm kind of skinny fat, I guess maybe is a term that can be used. And I've always been that way. Like I've never had abs. I've never particularly wanted them, to be honest with you. I just wanted to maintain my natural hourglass figure. And so I felt the most confident in that when I was 48 kilos. And that was from college, 18 to late 20s, 28, 29. And then I think when I entered 30, the 30s, I don't think it was even an age thing. I mean, yes, of course, your metabolism slows down in general as you get older, but it was also just like build up, right? Maybe from years of a little bit of burnout from the corporate world, and then also just like a lot of things happening. You know, I lost my cat, Eugene. He died around that time too. So it was just like a lot of stressful things. I'm in such a different place right now. Like, it's crazy. I was just telling my friend also that last week in particular, I was in such a huge rut. We had a 4 day weekend well, no, it was a 3 day weekend, but then I took an extra day off. So I had a 4 day weekend last weekend. And I'm not kidding you, like, I would say a solid 3 days out of that, I would literally just stay in bed or crawl back in bed, even though I was not tired and I didn't need any more sleep. I would just like make excuses to go back to bed and take a nap, even though I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like doing anything except like sleeping the day away because I didn't want to do any real tasks. I would call that stuck in a rut. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call it depression or anything serious. That's the thing though. If you compare like my stuck in a rut these days in 2023 to like back then 5-10 years ago, completely different situations. Okay, like this is not even because right now it's like yeah, I don't like to be stuck in a rut, but at least there's no self-blame or guilt tripping myself or berating myself in my mind about why am I so lazy. It was just more of a it's a much more conscious like compassionate just observatory experience. It was more just like okay, this is weird. I understand if 1 or 2 days you feel like not getting out of bed, but 3 days in a row, that's kind of excessive. Like, what's going on? That's the headspace that I'm in right now, right? It's not some sort of spiral into depression or berating myself for being lazy, quote unquote. It was just like, okay, this is what I feel like doing right now, so I'm gonna do it. If I feel like I want to nap and not do chores and not deal with the world, clearly that's what I need to do. for this weekend because it's not going to last forever, but let's figure out like where the heck this coming from, because it's just so weird. It's not like me. Even when I'm tired physically, doing this live, I'm so happy that I finally found time to do a live this week. But that happened last weekend. But let's get back to, sorry, I keep getting off track. So the weight thing, right? So I always felt most comfortable at 48 kilos, and then the past couple of years, it's been like 52 kilos has been kind of my standard weight, and then 54 has been my upper limit. So I would never go over 54. That was like my fattest point, right? Like my most bloated days, or the day after a cheat day, but I would always go back down. I would manage to bring it down to 52. That's also why pole dance is such an effective exercise for me, because I have to look at myself in very revealing pole dance outfits on the replay, and I don't want to think about how I have that extra 1 or 2 kilos on me. So like usually I'll get it together the day before a pole dance class, and then at least on that day I'll be like, my skinny mode weight of 52 kilos. But if I'm like completely honest, I kind of want to go back to 48 kilos. And I'm sorry if that offends you. I'm just talking about myself, okay? I'm not talking about what I think your standards should be. But if I'm completely honest, yeah, like I want to go back to the 40s, like 48 to 50, even 48 to 52, that'd be fine. But the point is, like, I realize that, okay, I don't like the feeling. It's not about weight, right? Like, it is about weight. Okay, it's so funny because to people who are not spiritual, they might listen to me talking about these desires that are very, like, weight centered, physical appearance centered, and I can see how they would be quick to judge that, oh, this girl is just so superficial, like all she cares about is the physical aspects or the aesthetics. And it's like, yes, but the physical aesthetic aspect is inextricably tied to the spiritual aspect. Like when you embark on a spiritual awakening and you really start to implement spirituality and manifestation and all of these concepts into your life, as I have been doing for the past several years, they're not separate anyway. Like everything is linked, right? So if I'm not at my dream weight, like let's say I was completely, I was overweight, or I was a little bit feeling bloated all the time, feeling sluggish, like not 100% physically, that's inextricably tied to my spiritual well-being as well. You can't separate the two, because we're experiencing life on earth in this vessel of a human flesh suit body. And so any spiritual person that you talk to will completely understand and agree with me. But people who are not there yet, they tend to think of it like they just project their own insecurities and negativities onto whatever you say. So if you talk about wanting to lose weight or wanting to look a certain way, wanting to improve your aesthetic, they'll take that as you being superficial. But to me, it's like, yes, but also because it's so much deeper than that, though, because these physical aspects are the physical real world manifestation of like me doing something right in my spiritual practice, like in my mental and spiritual self-care, if that makes sense. So like me not being at my perfect desired weight causes me to, like, for example, okay, this is how I gauge, or like I guess this was kind of the breaking point for me this time for why I went so extreme to do one meal a day, and also why I was able to stick to it this time instead of caving or making little exceptions here and there by the third day as I usually do. I noticed that like I was really not liking the way that I looked in clothes anymore. And not just normal clothes, casual. I'm talking about like clothes that I like to wear, which is I like a very sexy fitted style. Even though we're in winter, regardless of whether I'm covered up or whether I'm wearing a tiny two-piece number for pole dance or something, or whether I'm wearing a bikini, or even if I was wearing a completely covered up dress with long sleeves like down to my ankles, I like the hourglass shape, right? And you guys are gonna get so sick of hearing me say that, but that's just my thing. It's like my signature. I'm a soft gamine. That's our best asset. And so when I noticed that I was starting to avoid wearing the things that I like, just genuinely like, based on like since forever, since even probably before it was appropriate for me to like to dress that way, to be honest with you. Like I remember in middle school, I was the girl that would sometimes get in trouble for being inappropriate with the school dress code. Yeah, so when I noticed that I was not feeling 100% confident or happy with the way I looked in clothes. And then B, I started to actually avoid wearing certain clothes that are they're my style, like my genuine preference, but I would opt for the less fitted garment instead, right? Or I would opt for something that is more baggy, that covers everything up. And then I would use excuses like, oh, well, it's getting colder anyway, so obviously, like, no one expects me to go out in a bodycon dress. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't expect that. But it's not about like being hard on myself. It's about the fact that I'm not being myself, okay? Once in a while, yeah. Like right now, I'm wearing my pajamas. This is like my favorite oversized, well, not oversized, but it's like a loose, fleece pajama dress. It's the most comfortable fabric for me. And so I like to wear this. I wear this like all the time when I'm indoors during winter. But yeah, I noticed that like when I was stepping outside, I would not choose the outfits that the real Ren would choose if she was in her ideal body. I would go for like the safer option, or the option that would, you know, cover things up or make me look skinnier than I actually am. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not even about weight at this point. This is about the fact that like I'm compromising a part of who I am. Like I'm only allowing my desire to come through 80% when it should be 100%. So that's when I realized that, okay, you need to do something about this right now, or else you're not going to be living in alignment. So yeah, that's when I had to get real with myself, and I realized that intermittent fasting was not working for me. Because, what I tend to do, I tend to cheat. I have been successful at doing intermittent fasting for weeks on end. Like, I think 3 weeks, maybe even a month was the most that I've done it. I have it on an app somewhere. I'm not going to check. But yeah, I used to track it. But what would happen is that as I progressed further and further into the intermittent fasting, like by the second week, the third week, I would cheat in the sense that I would just like eat more calories in the 8 hour window that I had. So the first week I was good, right? I followed the rules. Like I ate moderate, 2 meals, maybe a snack here and there. And then that worked for a little bit. But then by the second week, I was like, okay, I'm not going to break the intermittent fasting rules. Technically, I'm still going to only eat within 8 hours, but I'm going to just like stuff my face more, which is not the point of intermittent fasting. Like it's kind of, and I knew that deep down, but I used it as an excuse that, well, but I'm still adhering to the 8 hour window, so it should work. But like, no, bitch, of course it's not going to work if you're eating like 3,000 calories now within the 8 hour window. Like, that's going to be the same effect as if you ate 3 full meals a day without intermittent fasting. So then that's how like I hit a plateau there. And then the final straw on the camel's back was when I went to Dubai last month, and then I came back and weighed myself on the scale, and it freaked me out because I feel like I did not even eat that much in Dubai. But I think what happened is that there were a lot of situations where it wouldn't be a full meal, like a sit down at a restaurant, 3 courses. It would be like I was in a lot of situations where there were appetizers or like little small plates of food. What's it called? Like hors d'oeuvres, or what's the Mexican style tapas, right? Like that type of a situation where people would order different dishes and everyone would just be nibbling off of each dish as the afternoon or as the evening progressed. And I feel like that was my undoing this time in terms of going over the upper weight limit that I've had for the past several years. So like, yeah, when I came back from Dubai, I got on the scale and it said 54.7 kilograms. And I was kind of like, okay, I've never been this heavy in my life. Like not even in high school. So in high school, I was always like, yeah, I was 54 kilos, right? And then when I went to college, that was when I kind of like glowed up and got down to 48 kilos, which is about 108 pounds. It's 108 or 110. I think it's 108. Oh, that's like 106. Okay, maybe like 49. I feel like 149 kilos is 108 pounds. Yeah, so that was always like my magic number. I would always be able to maintain that for most of my 20s. And then, yeah, but this time when I came back from Dubai, I was 54.7. So that's zero point 0.7 kilos over my upper weight limit of 54 kilos. And I was like, oh, okay, don't panic. You just came back from vacation. Ooh, why is it saying that it's not charging? This thing better not go out in the middle of my stream. Yeah, okay, so for the first week, I was like, all right, intermittent fasting. And then I got down to like 53.5 kilos. And I was like, all right, we're under 54 again, so this is salvageable, this is fine. But you know what happens? Of course, I got slammed at work, right? That was not expected. I knew that more complex projects and tasks were coming to me, but I did not expect the exact projects that I was thrown into. I don't think anyone expected that they were going to be as much of a shit show as they were. So that kind of like completely torpedoed the past 2 weeks of my life, which is fine. Like, it's not a big deal. This too shall pass. But because of that, I couldn't handle the intermittent fasting too on top of that. So I just started to like gorge myself again. Not to an excessive amount, but to the point where last weekend, like during those 4 days that I had free, when I weighed myself, I was at 54.7 again. And then that's when I was like, okay, no, we're not doing this. This is not going to be my new set point, I refuse. I literally refuse, and I never betray myself. And here's where I have to get really honest with you guys. Like, what do you think was the final catalyst to actually launch me into OMAD? Because I didn't even realize, this is what's so crazy about manifestation. When you get to a point where you're very good at detaching yourself from the outcome, I didn't realize that I was doing OMAD until after it happened for the first day. I think I was almost afraid to say it to myself because I didn't want to say that, oh, I want to do OMAD, like I plan to do this, and then have it fail like every other attempt that I've done, even at intermittent fasting in the end, right? Because I know my own pattern. Even subconsciously, I know my own pattern. When it comes to food, at least, right? It's very hard for me to control my urges. And it's not our fault because they purposely make food addictive. Like these fast food companies, they're so evil, they put literal chemicals in there that are addictive to the human brain and body so that you'll buy more. And that's why like everyone who has embarked on a detox journey or a fasting journey, you hear them all say the same things, that oh, they were able to break their addiction to sugar, or by a certain day they realized that they weren't craving certain things anymore, or that after 10 days of fasting, if they went back to eat the foods that they usually ate, it would taste so weird and off to them, right? Like it would taste overly sugary or overly salty. Once you reset your taste buds and your body to what nature intended for it to handle, that's when you realize, when you're reintroduced to the mass produced, like commercially available food to us these days, that's when you realize how unnatural it is. But yeah, so it's funny because like I didn't realize that I was doing OMAD until after I finished it the first day. But then by the second day, I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. It's like I'm not even an active participant almost in this process. It's so weird. I'm just like going with the wave of the universe. I think this is in Transurfing. If you guys have ever read the book Transurfing, this is what they call by outer intention is aligned with inner intention. Instead of most attempts in the past where it's like, okay, I want to do this, right? I want to do intermittent fasting for this amount of time. There would always come a point where I felt like I was fighting against myself, like I would have this base primal urge, addictive urge of, I want to eat, like, let me eat. I want to eat junk food. I want to have dessert. I want to eat at 12 a.m. Like this incessant addict mind, addict voice almost. Sorry, I have something in my eye. It felt like this part of me that wanted to be my best self, that wanted to have my dream body, that wanted to be able to wear a bikini any day of the week, right? Not just the days that I feel skinny. It just felt like this current was so strong. And then this one was like fighting so hard. And sometimes it would get a win, but ultimately it would just get all absorbed into this current of I want to eat. But like this time it feels so different. It feels like the two currents are aligned. Okay, it's not to say that I'm not trying really hard. Like, yes, it is a huge exercise in willpower, and I'm taking my own willpower to like different limits, higher limits that I didn't even know was possible with me, certainly not in relation to food. And I'm gonna get more into detail about this later, but like there are literally days where I have sat there at the clock when it's 11:58 a.m. just staring at the clock, waiting for it to change to 12 p.m. because that's the time that I've been eating every day. It would be nice to eat at 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. because I feel like overall that would be more satisfactory to be able to have my one big meal closer in the evening. But that's the part, like, that's where I had to draw the line because I was ravenous by 12 p.m. Like, I was almost about to turn into She-Hulk, but like, I was not going to eat 1 second before 12 p.m. And it just feels different this time. It doesn't feel like I'm fighting yes, I'm exercising willpower, but it doesn't feel like I'm fighting against myself. And the best way, okay, so this just came to me. The best way that I can think to describe it is that I am on a war path this time to reclaim what always was mine, which is my dream body, which is my ideal weight of 48 kilograms that I denied myself. Like, I realized that it was me denying that to myself for the past, we'll say, 5 years. Like 52 was fine. And especially since, I would do dance class and I would do like pole dance. So yeah, you can say that some of that is muscle. Looking back on those videos, I still look skinny, but I'm not talking only about the way I look. I'm talking about the whole holistic picture, like how I look, how I feel. Because for the past 5 years, I feel like I'm always a hamburger away from like looking bloated, right? And I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel like not 100% of the time because our weight is always going to fluctuate. Like, there's no such thing as maintaining weight. I don't think for women because it is so different every day, right? Like, there's no such thing for anyone to maintain weight because you're constantly eating and getting rid of waste and absorbing nutrients. Like, your body is a dynamic, living, breathing organism. You're not this can of soda, which is a certain amount of grams, and it's going to stay that way no matter what time you weigh it on the scale. Like, no, you're a living, breathing organism. Obviously, our weight is always going to fluctuate, but I just never want to be in a position where I'm denying my own innate sense of style and what I prefer because I feel like my body is not up to par to my standards. So I fell into OMAD. And it's crazy because even the schedule that I fell into was also was born from something that could be seen as negative, which is basically the way that like my new workload has effed up my whole sleeping and waking schedule for the past 2 weeks. We have different clients in different parts of the world. Like, I'm servicing clients that are not in Japan. And so, not that I'm required by my company to work past, Japanese work hours or anything, but it's kind of inevitable though, depending on the project, depending on the deadlines and stuff. It's kind of inevitable to stay up past a certain hour when I know that the client gets up at 12 a.m. here in Japan and I know that I need something signed by them within the next 12 hours, then I don't really have a choice but to be up at 12 a.m. here emailing them, right? So that was a situation I found myself in for 3 projects, which it was not supposed to happen that way. I was not supposed to get 3 projects all at once for my first project. It was supposed to be one, but somehow I ended up with 3 all on the same timeline. So that kind of ended up in me, yeah, like I would basically try my best to catch the client at the later hours here in Japan. So I would work until like 12 a.m., 2 a.m., and then I would sleep until like 6 a.m. So the regular working hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., right? That was completely turned on its head for me. So I would sleep until 6 a.m. and then from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. I was like not working because I was awake, but I wasn't working. But like my body was awake because my sleep schedule was so messed up by that point. So what I started to do was just go out for a walk and go out to buy food for the day or buy my drinks for the day from 6 to 9 a.m. And then I would work from 9 to lunchtime, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then I would take a nap from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. I know this is really messed up, but like I'm telling you, it kind of helped me start OMAD cold turkey. Like, I didn't even ease into this shit. I just, on Monday, something came over me. I don't know what happened. Like I told you, I didn't realize I was doing it until the next day on Tuesday, where I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that again. Like, I'm not gonna eat dinner again. I don't eat breakfast normally. So normally, um, even with intermittent fasting, I would just eat lunch and dinner. But with OMAD, I would only eat like a really big lunch. The new weird sleep schedule that I find myself in, which again, like I hope I'm not gonna have to keep this into December or for the next few weeks. But the fact that I had that schedule for the past week, that was what I needed to lock in my new habit of OMAD, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would sleep 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then I would just be up from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., right? Doing work and then like doing my YouTube stuff or other things like cleaning my apartment, other chores in between. I still have to tell you the catalyst that prompted me to do it. Okay, so I would love to sit here and tell you that I just had a huge spiritual awakening or that I just went to a new height in terms of, my own self-worth and what I deserve Or even the fact that I'm going to Dubai during Christmas and New Year's, like that is a part of the motivation, don't get me wrong, but that's not the actual motivation. I will tell you my actual motivation, and this goes back to one of my shorts that I recently posted that's been getting a lot of views about how you should use your celebrity crush to motivate you to glow up, right? Or at least to, like, if you're struggling to put on makeup every day or put on a nice outfit every day, and if that's what you want to do, then you should think about your celebrity crush. That if you were to bump into this person outside, how would you make sure you look before you walk outside your door? So, who do you think it is? Who do you think spurred this sudden Spartan spirit in me when it comes when it comes to like finally buckling down and getting serious about, do you want to be back at your goal weight of 48 kilos in this lifetime or not? Just take a guess. It's the Prince of Dubai. I think it's because, you know what? And this is again another piece of the puzzle that the universe just expertly threads everything together in a way that we can never preconceive. So this is why you should never concern yourself too much with the how of how your manifestation is going to happen. You just have to have faith and conviction that it will happen. So again, this is another component that, like, if this wasn't happening, I don't know if I would be here on my 5th day straight of strictly following OMAD and not cheating at all. Like, I'm talking not at all. I noticed that the prince is like posting a lot of stories on his Instagram lately because he was kind of quiet for like the past couple of weeks, and then just the last week in particular, he was posting a lot, or whoever runs the social media, because I guess there's a lot of events going on in Dubai. There was like this marathon run. I think it's just called Dubai Run. Maybe it's a charity thing. I don't know. But the prince was like there to, because you know the prince is a sportsman and he's won several medals in horse riding. I'm not sure, but he's won like sports related medals. He's very athletic, right? If you look at his Instagram, it's pretty obvious. So he was out on the front line during that Dubai Run thing. He also went to this expo thing near or inside the Museum of the Future. These are all places that I'm planning to go though. So like, why is the timing off though? I'm gonna go next month, but he's already been to these places like last week. It's not just because he's my celebrity crush, okay? Man Crush Monday, whatever. Hashtag Man Crush Monday. It's also because like I'm genuinely just impressed. And maybe I shouldn't be. Like maybe it's the halo effect. Maybe it's because I think that he's cute that I think this is so amazing, but I'm genuinely impressed because I feel like when you grow up in the lap of luxury, people think that, like, yes, of course, your life is much easier in many ways, but I think it's also harder to be a humble, genuine person, though, right? Like, because you have money at your disposal all the time to make your life easier. Hold on. I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's harder to build discipline in certain areas when you are rich. I just feel like it's really impressive that he's so athletic and like so just dedicated to all of his hobbies and the organizations that he starts up. He's very good at his job, right? Like he's good at being a prince, which is relevant in this case because he's not even the oldest son. So, okay, this is another, I'm going on another tangent, but I'm kind of obsessed with the entire Dubai royal family now. Like, I think it's fascinating, much more so than the UK royal family, because the UK royal family is just lame to me. I still kind of have a soft spot in my heart for Harry and Meghan. Like, I'm rooting for them, even though they are annoying AF. And when I say them, I mean more so Meghan. Like she's just very much that know-it-all American feminist archetype that I really don't like. But at the same time, I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think she has evil intentions. Like everybody tries to paint her out to be this witch that put a spell over Harry and, you know, tried to deliberately reminded him of his dead mom. So like I don't think she's that conniving the way that people say. But I do agree to a degree that she is very unlikable. And then I also think that Harry is kind of like, I think the fact that he's 4 years younger than her has something to do with it. Yeah, it does seem from the outside at least that he's just kind of getting strung along into her overall plans, but that's not like her fault. That's his fault because he's a grown ass man, right? So at the end of the day, even though regardless of whether or not he's influenced by her decisions, he's the one that made the choices that he did to, you know, eventually excommunicate himself from his family and whatnot. And he's also like making the choice to continue to allow his wife lower their public perception. Yeah, I feel like he doesn't have the balls to lay down the law like he should in his own household as the man of the household. But anyway, that's besides the point. I feel like the royal family is messy and they're not they bore me. Okay, I'm bored.
Now, I'm bored of talking to you. I'm bored.
UK royal family is just embarrassing. They bore me. They only speak one language. Like if you only speak one language, oh, that is like one of the biggest disses that I could ever give you. Okay. I consider people that speak only one language. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're not even that. This is why I'm not into, yeah, like the UK royal family and even like US celebrities. I'm like, okay, well, you might be talented or whatever. You might be able to act or sing, but you only speak one language. Like at least if I'm gonna support or cheer on anyone, I will cheer on a K-pop star before I cheer on a US singer because at least everyone like in Korea they have to learn English. It's mandatory in their schooling. So even if they're not good at it, they know some of it, you know. As opposed to the US where like people literally a lot of the celebrities, like some people do, obviously, speak more than one language, but there's a lot of people that are so-called white girl famous, right? Like they don't have to do anything really other than be in the right place at the right time. The most prosperous country or the one that has the most booming profitable entertainment industry, which is the US. And even though they're not a polyglot, they might be just like a one trick pony. They might just do TikTok videos where they stare into the camera for 5 seconds and get millions of views. That's not impressive to me, you know? Like the volume of your celebrity is not impressive. So the reason that the Dubai royal family kind of fascinates me is because they have like their family drama is messy AF. I don't know if the prince's dad, which is the current, is it king or is it like a different Sheikh Mohammed? Do they go by king? Because if the prince is the prince, then his dad must be the king, right? I'm just gonna say the king of Dubai. I feel like he might actually be evil, and everyone just sweeps it under the rug, and it's so weird to me because like I've dug up all these old news articles about Dubai princesses, aka the prince's actual sisters. Like two of them went missing, or they fled to the UK, but then the dad sent people over there to drag them back, to kidnap them off the streets of London and literally drag them back to Dubai where they were like tortured, isolated in a quarter of the castle. And same thing with like some of his ex-wives too. Because did you know that the the current king of Dubai, he's had 8 wives in total, but like you're only allowed to have up to 4 in Islam, right? So he's divorced a bunch of them. Like he's gotten married and then divorced some and then gotten married again, and it's crazy to me. And like the oldest son, like the actual eldest son of the entire clan, was not even with a Muslim woman. It was with like someone from Europe. So his oldest son is half white essentially, and I think basically he was like too white to be the heir. So the second oldest son, which was Prince Rashid, which is or was Prince Hamdan, the current prince's older brother. He was supposed to be the crown prince of Dubai, but then he had like drug addiction problems or something. This is all allegedly, okay, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. So then, like, he tragically died. Prince Rashid died 10 years ago, leaving Prince Hamdan to be the crown prince of Dubai. So Prince Hamdan is like actually the third oldest son or something like that. But I think even before Rashid passed away, they decided to give the title to Hamdan instead because he seemed more suitable for the role. And so it's just like messy as hell. And I think his current wife, like his first wife, who is the mother of the current crown prince of Dubai and also the one that passed away tragically, he's been married to her the whole time and the longest, but along the way he's like married and divorced different women. And the one that he's married to now, I think it's the princess of another country. She has like blonde hair. She's like 25 years younger than him. Anyway, it's a whole mess. I feel like their family is batshit crazy. If you compare that to the UK family, I would say Dubai royal family wins in terms of messiness. But somehow the Dubai royal family, they don't deal with that European nonsense, you know, of emotions and looking a fool out here in front of the press. I feel like they have their messy moments, but then they just sweep it under the rug or do whatever and get on with the show. There's a part of that that I find kind of admirable. Like even though I still think the dad is kind of evil, there's videos on the internet of not Queen, like his daughters, Princess Latifa, but there's like 3 Latifas. So one of the Latifas uploaded I think it was like 40-minute video to YouTube about how she was being held captive against her will, and she was saying all these things about her dad, how he only cares about his image and etc etc, and she just wants to be free. And her other sister was like managed to flee to London, but then her dad sent people over there to kidnap her and drag her on a jet back to Dubai. And it's just like crazy. I can't find that much information about it. I don't know if it's because most of it is probably in Arabic. Not too much of the articles have been translated in English, but I don't know, it's just fascinating to me. And this also tells me that, okay, maybe the prince is like not that great of a person as you think he is, because why is he not speaking out or standing up for his sisters though? Not that he's responsible for everything that his dad does, and there's also like several sides to each story. So maybe like that's a part that helps me not be a total fangirl. Like, okay, why didn't you help your sisters though? That's an actual cause for side eye. But then at the same time though, I feel like now things are pretty stable, right? Like even the sisters, the princesses, Latifa and the other one, they seem to be okay now, I think. I don't know, like the whole media storm blew over and then they just got on with ruling Dubai, which is kind of gangster if you think about it, like more so than what the British royal family is doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased towards Dubai, but the point is, okay, I just find it kind of like fascinating and impressive that you could grow up in such chaos and have like such a womanizing, power hungry, almost tyrant of a dad, but then turn out to be like the complete opposite, which we'll never know. I mean, it could all be a farce, right? It could all just be a very carefully crafted PR image, but I feel like there's something in the current crown prince that is very genuine. Okay, because like I don't see his brothers, getting out on the front lines as much as he does in terms of like running at the Dubai Run event with people and intermingling with the public, and like he just seems very, what's the word? Disciplined. And I just imagine that if you grew up in the lap of luxury, because these people are literal billionaires, right? Like the Dubai royal family, they have billions and billions of dollars of wealth stacked up. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Like, if anyone is ridiculously rich and watching this right now, please enlighten me. Um, but I just feel like it's very hard to have self discipline when you're that privileged growing up. I mean, just look at the current king, right? Couldn't stay married. He was already allowed to marry up to 4 wives, and he couldn't even stick to that, right? Like, he had to end up marrying and divorcing 8 women in total, which you might say that, well, that's what you get to do when you're king. Okay, fair enough. But to me, again, it just indicates a lack of self control. I don't know. But maybe he has, I mean, I guess he has control in other areas because he was able to take Dubai from like a relatively unknown city in the Middle East to one of the most prosperous, technologically advanced ones in the short span of just 50 something years. But anyway, my point is, it's not just because I think the prince is cute, it's because I realized that something about this person being born into the most lavish, extravagant luxury that anyone could ever imagine, and still having the discipline to be physically fit, right? To get up every day. And like also after mourning the death of his brother, I know it happened 10 years ago, but I feel like that's something that you just can never recover from, right? Like even I'm sure Harry and William, they're still dealing with the death of their mother. And so dealing with all of that, but being able to still get out there and put on a brave face for the people, knowing what you represent to the people, knowing that people look at you as a beacon of hope and positivity for like the city and their own lives, and like being able to push through all of that while the entire world is watching you and still be so disciplined. Something about that activated something in me where I was like, okay, you cannot do this woe is me thing anymore about being 54 kilograms. Like, you have to do something drastic if you need to, which is OMAD. Also, okay, if I'm gonna allow someone to live in my head rent free, if the Prince of Dubai is gonna occupy space in my head rent free, then bitch, you're gonna make me skinny, okay? That's what you're gonna do for me. That's what I believe the role of the masculine and feminine should be in any type of exchange, even if it's just a delusional one-sided one. If you're going to suck up all this energy, if I'm going to be looking through your Instagram stories, if I'm going to be admiring your jawline, then you're going to make me fucking skinny. You understand? That's the motivation that you're going to provide me in my life. And so now we're even, you know? No, but seriously though, like that's the actual catalyst. Obviously, like the Prince of Dubai might not work for you in particular, but you need to find that chemical X, that mixing factor that moves the needle for you. It worked. I can't believe it worked. So I'm on my fifth day now. I'll run you through what I normally do in a day. So I just told you kind of like the weird sleep and wake up schedule that I've been on for the past week. So what would happen is that I would just, you know what, let's start at 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. I would like get antsy, like I want to eat breakfast because I'm awake. I want to eat something, but I can't eat until 12 p.m. That's my one meal of the day. I've decided 12 or later. So instead of, sitting around waiting for McDonald's breakfast to be available on Uber Eats, I decide, you know what, I'm just gonna go outside and take a walk. And then during that walk, I started to pick up basically all the liquids that I would drink for the day. So in the beginning, I would buy like the small regular sized bottles of water. But then what started to happen is that whenever I would get hit with the really, really bad cravings, hunger cravings, I would just start to drink more liquid, more water, other low calorie drinks like tea and such. So now I've graduated to the 2 liter bottle. Like before I started OMAD, this is something that I realized too. It made me realize that I was not drinking anywhere near enough water or liquids in general back then. Because I would have like one regular sized bottle of water that would last me like 3 days almost. Because I would be ordering drinks from Starbucks and just other, not coffee, but like matcha latte, things like that. Liquid calories, right? Which I also completely cut out and went cold turkey. I have not had any type of a fattening, sweet, milky latte type drink since starting OMAD. Where was I? Yeah, so I would buy like water and then I would get this tea. I think this tea is 0 calories, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 0 calories, green tea. You want to know why I picked this bottle of tea as opposed to the 500 other bottles of tea or brands that they have here in Japan? All of them taste somewhat the same. I mean, green tea is green tea. You can only remix it so many times, but I picked this bottle because it kind of reminds me of like the snatched waist shape that I want. Okay, not this one because this one is 600 milliliters. So usually it's a 500 milliliter bottle, and the hourglass shape is more pronounced, but this time it's like they're giving you an extra 100 milliliters. I say this detail because it also matters. Like I pick certain brands and even down to the bottle shape or the bottle size or just how the bottle makes me feel, how that brand of water makes me feel. Some bottles of water are more aesthetic than others and you just feel better drinking the water. You don't even know if it's necessarily the water itself, it's just like the container that it's in makes it taste better, right? Drinks taste better normally in glass cups as opposed to plastic cups. I don't know if it's just a psychological thing, but I don't care, okay? My point is, I'm designing every last detail that I possibly can control. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna pick the one that is going to keep adding on to my momentum when it comes to my goal, if that makes sense. Case in point, picking this skinny bottle, which is like skinnier at the waist in the middle than at the top and the bottom, this reminds me of the body shape that I want, and so it helps me psychologically, right? Even if the tea itself is not that different from any other generic brand out there, like this is something that I just feel like when I'm drinking it, even this bottle of tea is aligned to my goal, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I would get water, tea, and then I would always get 2 of these apple cider vinegar drinks. So it's called kurozu in Japanese. These are 14 calories each. So like I'm not super strict to the point where I'm only drinking 0 calorie drinks. I will go up to maybe 50 calories and I will allow myself 2 of these. So like basically what I do, I know that the morning is rough, right? When I'm waiting around until 12 p.m. because that's also like 6 to 9 p.m. is fine. Any time that is not work that I have free to myself, that's not that hard because I realize that I can just fill those spaces with activities that I like to do. And it's very, very easy to distract myself essentially for 3 hours or however long it is that I have to wait. But from 9 to 12, that's when I'm on the clock, technically, at my job. And those hours in the beginning, they were the hardest for me, right? Because think about it, I'm kind of ravenous and all I can think about is ordering food on Uber Eats, but I have to get 3 hours of work done. And like these days, that's more important than ever. I really need to budget my time carefully when it comes to work. So what I've done that really helps me is that I allow myself to, I basically use that time to intake all my liquids, right? To curb the hunger. And usually, like by the time I'm done drinking everything, whether it's water or tea or my apple cider vinegar, or sometimes I've recently also been buying hot lemon tea, right? Because it's winter. And actually, I just realized that it says 27 calories. I just realized it says per 100 milliliters, and this whole bottle is more, it's like 300 something milliliters, so that's kind of a little on the high side, to be honest with you. I'm gonna allow myself one of these per day. I don't crave this every single day, so it's fine, but yeah, that's a little high for me because that would mean that this entire bottle is 100 calories, and I don't really like that. Like, I really am trying to save my calories for the actual food, you know? But it's okay. This is not gonna break the bank. Like 100 something calories once a day. So I would get through the 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. by ingesting a lot of liquid. So that's one like immediate benefit that I noticed when I started doing OMAD, is that I drank way more water than I used to, which is actually closer to the normal amount of water that you should be getting every single day. I'm still like nowhere at the point where they say you have to drink like 8 glasses every day, right? Or 2 liters is the equivalent of 8 glasses. But like I still can't. I mean, I bought this yesterday and I'm only a third of the way done. And I finished a regular bottle of water. So like I drink maybe 1 liter per day now, but it might even increase in the next week, right? So yeah, I curb my hunger with a variety of different low calorie drinks from 9 to 12 p.m. And then I'm not gonna lie to you, the last minutes before 12 p.m. have been rough sometimes, to the point where I'm literally sitting there with my eyes glued to the screen, glued to the clock on my laptop, like just staring at it, willing it to change from 11:59 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's been that bad sometimes. But the thing is, like, again, I'm on a warpath. I sense this shift in me this time, that there are some days where I'm able to distract myself, right? Like I'm able to find a task, or even if I just can't, if my brain is too fried to do actual work, I'll just find stuff on my YouTube channel to do. There's always something to do as a social media content creator. Like there's always something to edit. There's always some videos or raw footage that I could be moving around or airdropping to myself through different devices. So I will just do that, right? Like for example, if it's 11 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get through the next hour before I finally get to eat my meal? There are some days where I just start doing something YouTube related, something that I enjoy, and then that fills up the time. That fills up the 1 hour pretty quickly. On the days that I'm able to only partially distract myself, but it's still in the back of my mind, like this ravenous thought about I have to eat, right? Even up until the last minute, like, or the last 5 minutes, I've decided that if I'm gonna be sitting there staring at the screen, waiting for it to turn from 11:59 a.m. to 12 p.m. If I have to do that every single day, then that's just what we're gonna fucking do, you know? Like, so be it. Is it gonna kill me? No. It's been 5 days of this shit now, and is it annoying? Yes, but does it pass every single time? Did I die ever? Was I ever close to dying? No, absolutely not. And then the moment that it turns to 12 p.m., I stuff my face. But like with a huge sense of accomplishment, because I just proved to myself over and over again. And I feel like it's still in the early stages because it's only the 5th day that I've done this. But like imagine the momentum I would have built by day 25 or day 30, right? Like I might do an update vlog closer to when I'm about to leave for Dubai, right? Like maybe after I've done this for 30 days total, I might do an update vlog, and I think it'll be interesting to see the change in my energy from now to then, because like right now I'm already feeling pretty confident. I just proved to myself that I can do this 5 days in a row, but imagine if I did it for 30 days in a row without breaking whatsoever. Can you just imagine the rock solid confidence, the complete lack of any shadow of a doubt that I would have in my own willpower by then? Like that's what I'm after. Okay, forget the food, you know, it's so much deeper than just food. But yeah, So then by the time it hit 12 p.m., I'll tell you something else really funny. I ate Indian curry every single day this week. Like, I don't know why. Well, I found a really good restaurant on Uber Eats. It was like 5 stars, right? Usually most restaurants are never 5 stars. They'll get 4.8 average at best, but this one was averaging 5 stars. And for an Indian restaurant too, which is rare. Not to say that Indian restaurants are not good here, but it's, most of them are just like average tasting. I like Indian food, but I don't like most. I'm very particular about the restaurant that it comes from, right? Because every restaurant has a slightly different flavor. So I'm like this about most foods that I enjoy, like Thai curry, Indian food. I like savory foods, and plus it's winter, it's super cold. So I think you guys can relate to me. I lean more towards the comfort foods. But yeah, I found this Indian restaurant that I never ordered from before that was 5 stars, and apparently it's been there the whole time, but it's just never been shown to me in recommended. So I went ahead and ordered the first day, and it was so delicious. It was called like kadai curry, basically vegetable curry with chicken or mutton, whatever you choose, and then also peppers, and it was just really good. It's like a dry curry, I think. And then I would just order that and I would eat the whole thing with a huge piece of naan bread and also dessert. So I've been eating either a brownie. This is from a coffee shop that I really like. I think they make their own brownies because I don't like the prepackaged brownies that they have in the grocery stores here. So this one is made fresh. And I order 2 at a time so that I can meet the minimum requirement for free shipping. So that's why I have another one. But yeah, I would eat this, and then sometimes I would eat these chocolate covered pecan nuts, which I'm obsessed with. These are so expensive. These are like 300 something yen for this tiny bag. But yeah, they just came out with this at 7-Eleven and I'm obsessed. So like I don't put any limits on myself as to how much I get to eat during my one meal. I just eat whatever I want, right? So it's a big meal. But the beautiful thing about one meal a day method is that you really cannot, there's only a certain limit to how much calories you can intake in a 1 to 2 hour period. Even if you eat a lot, even if you feast every day like I have been with my curry and my brownies and my chocolate covered pecan nuts. What else did I eat? Sometimes I would even have a side of something else, like a little container of dumplings or a little salad from the kombini. Sometimes, depending on how hungry I was that day, I would even be able to fit that into my meal. But the beautiful thing about OMAD is that it's nearly impossible to go over your average caloric intake per day if you were to eat normally 3 or 2 meals a day. It's really hard to go over that in just one meal, no matter how much you eat in that meal. So like, I don't know, unfortunately, I don't know the exact caloric total because I ordered the curry from a restaurant, so they don't have like calorie information on their website. But let's just say on the high side, right? The curry plus the naan bread is 1,000 calories. Because it's just that I don't get like lassi drinks or I don't do liquid calories. So I'll eat curry and I'll have my brownie and I'll have maybe another side dish, but then I'll only drink tea or water. You can see like those 3 things, it's not going to be more than 1,800 calories, right? Maybe 2,000 calories tops. I don't think it reaches 2,000. And I was definitely eating more than 2,000 calories per day when I was eating regularly, or even when I was on intermittent fasting with the 8-hour window for eating. For sure that there were days that I went over 2,000 calories. And so, yeah, like this is something that I'm kind of surprised, but not really. Like now that I'm in it for 5 days already, I feel like what took me so long, it's kind of the best of both worlds for me because I get to eat a huge, delicious meal and gorge myself and not place any limits on the portion size or even what it is, right? Because curry and naan bread, it's very, very heavy. It has a lot of carbs in there, but it doesn't matter if I'm only eating once a day. Of course, the price that you pay for that is that you only get to eat once a day. I don't know. I realized that maybe for me, that's a lot better than doing intermittent fasting and splitting my food for the day into 2 meals, but then feeling like I had to restrict myself, right, for those 2 meals, whether it's, eating super healthy, like only opting for the salad, or controlling my portion size, making the portions smaller, neither of which I like to do. I'm a foodie, okay? I like to enjoy my food. Like, it doesn't mean that I necessarily want unhealthy food, but I think, again, with the fact that we are in the dead of winter now and it's freezing, like my feet are freezing, okay? I turned off the air conditioning, or no, the heater, so that you guys don't have to deal with excess noise in this video, but I just want you to know that my feet are freezing. So naturally you want to eat more filling comfort foods, which normally involve more carbs, which is not bad or unhealthy necessarily, but if you intake too much of those throughout the day, it'll make you feel sluggish, right? It will bring down your energy levels, but not if you only eat once a day. Like, this is the beautiful part. So that's another thing I realized, that I am not sluggish anymore when I wake up, which was, believe it or not, that actually took an adjustment period for me too, because in the beginning, I would say by the second, like by the third day, when I woke up, I would wake up at exactly 6 a.m. And like, I've never been particularly a morning person, although it depends on if I'm jet lagged or if I'm just on a weird schedule, because you never know nowadays. I noticed by the third day that I wake up exactly at 6 a.m. and then I'm not groggy anymore. Like, I don't have any, I don't even need an alarm. I'll just wake up at 6 a.m. I don't have the urge to go back to sleep anymore the way that I always did before. Whether I use an alarm or not, I would always go back at least 2 or 3 times, right? Like, oh, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, that type of thing. And then I would finally drag myself out of bed and brush my teeth. But that didn't happen. I would literally just, like, I would wake up and I'd be ready. I felt no sluggishness. Yeah, at first I didn't even know what was happening. I was like, wait, is this insomnia or something? But then I realized as the days went by that no, this is just you having higher energy levels than you previously did. It's almost like my brain didn't want to accept it. Like, my brain wanted an excuse to go back to bed just because it felt comfortable. But I had to, like, have a come to Jesus moment with myself that no, this is good. If you feel like the moment you open your eyes that you want to get up, then you should get up, and this should become your new normal. And this is probably, like, I had this moment of realization that, oh, this is what my ideal identity does. Like, the person that I'm trying to be, the person that I'm striving to improve towards every day, this is actually what she would do. This is how she would live, right? Like, she would wake up and not feel sluggish and just get up. It's not this like struggle version that I feel like we always subconsciously tell ourselves that, oh, well, even if you're tired and even if like you only got 2 hours of sleep, you would get up and hustle and get the work done. And it's like, no, there's a option to naturally feel energized and like naturally feel that you're ready to just jump out of bed the moment you open your eyes. And I would have never guessed that it would come from OMAD. I mean, it makes total sense, but I guess I just didn't anticipate that being such a stark difference as well in my life. So yeah, the first thing was that I definitely, like, I intake a lot more liquids, right? So instead of just caving into the hunger and reaching for a snack, I'll just chug down a bottle of water because I know that that's always going to work in my favor. That's never going to put me in a deficit later on when I'm in a comatose state from eating many carbs or too much sugar. And then also, yeah, waking up and not feeling sluggish anymore. It's still like, it's crazy because I know my spirit, like my higher self, knows that this is very healthy. This is a very good feeling. But something about my stubborn brain, like my peasant ass brain, is still trying to fight to find a way to go back to sleep for an extra 10 minutes just because that's what it's used to. And I'm like, no, you don't need to though. Get rid of the habits that you don't need, right? The third, well, there's so many things that change, but one of the third biggest changes that I noticed is that so there are periods where I really crave food and I really just want to eat. But since I know for certain that the programming is already written in stone, that I'm just not going to eat a second meal or a second snack. I'm not going to eat a morsel of food after my one meal at 12 p.m., right? 12 to 2 p.m., however long it takes me to finish. I give myself around 2 hours. I'm not that strict, like, because some people only eat within a 1 hour window and they fast for 23 hours and they're very strict about that. For me, 2 hours is fine. 12 to 2 p.m. I like to slowly enjoy and feast on my food. But like, something inside me is just locked into place that I'm not going to eat a morsel of food after that for the rest of the day. And so it's led to another mental shift. Whereas before, when I would feel frustrated or a little bit ADHD about not wanting to do some work that's in front of me, whether it's my day job or YouTube, I would like go walk around and find a snack and then eat that snack. And then I would maybe, like, after stalling for a couple of hours, I would maybe finally get to editing my video, right? But like now, since it's already decided and I know I'm not going back on this no matter what, that I'm not eating anything after 2 p.m., there's literally no choice left for me than to be productive or to do some other activity, even if that's just taking a nap, which again, I have more energy levels now, so I don't even feel the need to nap that much, which is crazy because I love to nap. That's the thing, right? Like, I love to nap. But which one do I love more? Do I love to nap for an extra hour, or do I love to use that extra hour to work towards my goals, to make YouTube videos, to learn a new hobby, expand my wealth, expand my consciousness and my intellect? Which one is better? Obviously, this one. Okay. Yeah, like since eating past 2 p.m. is completely off the table now, I have no choice but to find something else to do to fill up that time, which has also made me just a more productive person overall. I would procrastinate for maybe 6 hours, maybe 8 hours to edit a YouTube video in the past, and now it's like I don't have anything else to do. Like, I'm not gonna eat for the next 8 hours anyway, so I might as well edit this video now. I can't put an exact like number, but yeah, let's say I procrastinated 8 hours before. Now it's down to like one. It takes me 1 hour. Or sometimes it's immediate, right? For me to spring into action. So that's also been a great benefit. I hope that that one builds on itself more and catches more momentum, because there's a part of me that's kind of holding back too, which is, again, it's your peasant consciousness. It's almost like I know I can just go full throttle, right? Like, I can just be one of those people that whenever I think of something, I can just do it immediately within 30 seconds. But there's a part of me that's like holding back because it's scared of embodying the new identity. It's almost like, oh, am I allowed to do this though? Like, is this going to be okay? Am I going to crash and burn? Obviously not, okay? That's the fear survival mind trying to keep me safe, trying to tell me that, oh, but don't move too fast. Don't improve your life too fast. Don't get closer to your ideal identity too fast because there's danger. But what is the danger, right? Another thing I'm just remembering now that happened within the past 2 weeks, I started getting recommended these videos by this YouTuber called Carmelita Fox. Really fabulous, model-esque looking black girl. Carmelita Fox, yeah. I don't know if that's her real name, but that's her YouTube channel. You know what? I think she deserves a lot of credit too. So I'm gonna link her channel down below to this video because her videos got recommended to me in the past few weeks, and she talks a lot about a lot of topics that I'm also very interested and passionate about, and I've touched on those in my own way on my channel as well. Some of her videos, like most of her videos that have been really popping off lately, are to deal with pretty privilege and how, again, basically similar stuff to what I say to you guys all the time, that you should not feel guilty about glowing up or using your pretty privilege to get ahead in life, especially as a woman. Like, if society is going to judge us on our looks anyway, then we reserve the right to do whatever we need to do to maximize that department in our lives, right? So that we can get more benefits. And she has a lot of videos about being skinny too, right? Why it's advantageous to be skinny privilege, pretty privilege. She used to be like chubby or overweight, but then she also, I guess similar to me, she had some sort of like epiphany one day that she just was able to not just to lose the weight, but if you look at her, she's like definitely the model standard now. I'm talking size 0 to 2. She might even be skinnier than me. I'm not even joking. And I think she's really tall too. But if you look at like her figure, I think her waist is really, really snatched. It's like that model-esque 90s supermodel look. She kind of favors Naomi Campbell, or no, Tyra Banks. Now she favors Tyra Banks because she recently just changed her hair color to red. So she really looks like Tyler now. But she also has like a makeup tutorial about Naomi Campbell makeup on her channel. So yeah, I suggest you guys check her out if you're trying to lose weight or, you know, need a kick in the ass type of motivation for your glow up journey. But yeah, like her videos came to me at just the right time too, because like everything that she says is everything that I kind of believe too. And I've started to be a little more fearless about speaking that truth on my channel as well, but I haven't gone as hardcore as she has in some of her videos. So if you really want the raw truth with no filter, I suggest you go to her. But she manages to do it while being very sweet and like having a sweet, genuine personality at the same time, which is why I was so drawn to her. So yeah, like I think her videos also helped solidify this mindset. It just helped strengthen my resolve that I was going to do this. For me, it's OMAD. For you, it might be something else, but whatever it takes to get me, I don't even want to say to my dream weight of 48 right now, because we'll still have to see if that's feasible. Like, there is one thing that I know for sure is that I'm going to stick with OMAD until, like, I'm going to do OMAD to the point where it allows me to lose the maximum amount of weight. So I'll do OMAD until I hit a plateau, basically. Because that's the whole reason I switched to OMAD from intermittent fasting in the first place. I was hitting a plateau with intermittent fasting. During the period that I did the longest streak, I'll say it was 3 weeks maybe, I got down to, my lowest weight was 51.7 kilograms, I remember. And I should probably document this. I know some people are more visual, like it would be helpful if I could show you before and afters, but the thing is, I don't like to take before pictures. Okay, it's more like when I got the flash of inspiration and just like the flash of motivation to go and do OMAD for that first day, it was this like bolt of energy that passed through me, right? That was like larger than me. It came from the universe, it came from the field, and I basically just like, at this point I know if that kind of inspiration comes, you just latch on. Your job is to latch on and ride the wave, and it will take you to your manifestation. So that's what I was doing. If I had stopped for a second to drag everything back down to earth and let myself get caught up in the thought of having to take before and after pictures, taking a picture of my before body in the mirror and then getting discouraged, I guarantee you I would have probably ended up eating that night. You know, like the momentum would have been lost. So my job at that moment, all I could think about, all that was occupying my mind, was to grab onto this very powerful, like invisible, metaphysical energy wave and just ride it. The inspiration, the nudges, the motivation that you get from the energetic realm is infinitely more powerful and works more speedily than anything that you could force physically. Because I understand that, I don't allow myself to get bogged down with things like, oh, taking before after pictures. That would bring down the vibration, if you know what I mean. I know that sounds like a lot of fluffy woo-woo and that maybe I'm making excuses, but I'm really not. Like, I'm not ashamed to show you my before body. It's just that I don't feel anything beneficial for me. Like, I don't get a good feeling. I don't get good vibes at the thought of having to document my progress every day through pictures. That would be too much in the earthly 3D realm for me. I'm trying to ignore the 3D right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to inhabit the 48 kilogram version of me as much as possible so that I can get there quicker. If I were to start taking pictures of myself every day, that would just be pulling myself down to the mental plane too much, and I might lose it, honestly. Like, I'm scared. I'll admit I'm scared, but I feel a difference this time, but I'm still not going to take any chances, you know what I mean? So yeah, like case in point, you know, I went to a party. My friend was kind enough to take me along with her to a private party at La Forêt tonight, or yesterday night now. It's Saturday now, but Friday night there's like an event at La Forêt, which is a very famous department store in Harajuku, which has all of like the really niche Harajuku style fashion and clothing brands. And the dress code was pink, which is why you see the photo of the thumbnail for this video. I'm wearing a hot pink shirt. And so, you know, the fact that there was no food at this event might have also been a gift from the universe to help me along with my manifestation, because usually any event that I go to, there's always finger foods at least, right? But there was really no food, like no free food here at this event. It was just beverages that they give out, and you guys know I don't drink, so that automatically cancels out any of the calories that I would get from alcoholic beverages. Like, that's something that I don't ever have to worry about, even before OMAD or intermittent fasting. At least I never had to worry about calories from alcohol. But I'll show you right now. They did have non-alcoholic beverages, so you were able to get one free beverage and then one sweet, which is this macaron that I chose. Notice how I didn't eat either of these. So I came home and I was like, before I went home, when I was on the train, just thinking to myself, I was thinking to myself, okay, once I get home, yeah, maybe I can just like drink that strawberry soda, because, you know, it's Friday night and you successfully did OMAD for 5 days in a row and you were at a party after all, and it's already a win that there was no food there. Like, I didn't eat any food. So today, the last time that I ate was at 2 p.m., right? When I finished my one meal, my curry, Indian curry, and then 2 bags of this, right, for my dessert. So on the train, I was like, I had a moment where I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe you can drink that. But then when I got home, I weighed myself and it said 53 53.3 kilos. So like in 5 days, I went from 54.7 to 53.3. And this is at the end of the day, right? After I already eaten everything in my meal, which is pretty impressive for 5 days. So then I was like, wait a minute, do you even want soda? And then I realized that, no, actually I don't. This is cute, you know, it's on brand, it's a strawberry, but I don't even like soda. And that's one of the things that, you know, again, I feel I'm lucky when it comes to that, because I've never been, I think that, you know, a lot of people, if you're used to drinking a lot of soft drinks like soda or coffee, cafe lattes, things like that, that is an extra challenge that you have to get through, right? When you're trying to, not just for intermittent fasting or OMAD, but if you're just trying to develop healthier eating habits in general, that's a doozy for a lot of people to cut out soda and things like that. So for me, I guess I'm lucky in that department. I was never obsessed with sparkling drinks that way. Even like sparkling water, definitely not, because I feel like regular water actually tastes better to me. So why would I choose sparkling water? It makes you more gaseous and it doesn't taste as good as the regular water. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, soda and alcohol, I guess I'm lucky. I've never had to deal with that. But like since I got this from the event, right, my brain was starting to do this thing about, oh, but you should drink it because you got it for free and it's cute, it's on brand, it's a strawberry. The packaging is cute too, right? It's clear. But now I'm looking at this like 151 calories per 100 milliliters. So there's 350 milliliters in this can. That's a lot of calories to spend on a fizzy soda drink that is not even my preference. Because it's cute, because I got it for free. Like, no, I might have the mind to just dump this down the drain now. This is the kind of mental clarity that you get also with OMAD, because like the rule is already in place. That's the masculine container that I'm not going to eat past 2 p.m. And so even if I really wanted to drink this, right, I would have to wait until tomorrow from 12 to 2 p.m. But during the time that it takes to get from now to then, right, which is still like at this point it's almost 3 a.m. in the morning, so it's still like it's a good 10 hours away, I think. Can I do math? It's 9 hours away from 12 p.m. when I can eat again. During that time, like more often than not, 9 times out of 10, anything that I was craving, I'm not going to crave it anymore by the time that time has passed, you know? You realize also that, oh, cravings are just temporary. They literally only last for maybe 30 minutes tops. Maybe not even that. Maybe like 10 minutes tops. But the thing is, when you're not doing OMAD, when you don't have any rules in place about when you can eat or how often you can eat, you give into the craving as soon as it comes up, right? And you don't give yourself the time to process it and, okay, I recognize that I'm craving this, but then just wait it out. All you have to do is wait it out, honestly. Focused on other hobbies, or if you have other goals in your life, then that time just becomes valuable time that you can use to work towards your goals. It's just like win-win-win, you know? So I'm gonna throw this out. I'm gonna take one sip just because I'm honestly very curious about how this is gonna taste. So tomorrow, during my lunch window, I'm going to take one sip of this, but I probably won't want it anymore because I don't enjoy soda in general, and so I'm just gonna dump it out. And then this macaron too. Like, do I even want a macaron? Macarons are good. I like them. I like the ones that in 7-Eleven. Those are the best. But like this one, I'm looking at this. It doesn't even have a cream filling. Do I want this? The point of a macaron is so that you can eat it like an Oreo, right? Like take the top off, eat that, and then lick off the cream, and then eat the bottom of the sandwich. But do I even want this? Like, because if it was a choice between this snack and this one, I would choose this one, which I already, like, I've stocked up on this for the rest of the week because I realized that it's really delicious. See, I have to make choices now, you know? It's not gonna be like before where I could just eat both. I could just eat this in the morning and eat this at night. No, bitch, you only get one meal a day. You can only choose one, you know? So I'm probably gonna go for this, right? So it makes me raise my standards too, because it's like, why would I? It's just a matter of choosing the better option always. It's not a matter of, oh, but I'm craving this now. Oh, but I got this for free. Oh, but like I also want chocolate. It's like, no, you get to eat one thing. So which one? Well, this one is better. So I'm going to eat this one. This one I have access to all the time, right? Like if I run out, I can just go to 7-Eleven and buy more. And so I'm always going to choose this one, right? As long as I find this one, you know, as long as I'm craving this one the most, which I have a feeling is going to be for a while. I always like anything with like chocolate truffle covering. If it's always going to be this, then what is even the use of this? Like I can just get rid of this or give it to someone. I'll probably give it to, yeah, I'll probably put it in a bag for my friend because I'm meeting up with one of my work friends who actually just put in her notice. So the next time I meet up with her, I'm gonna have to give her her Christmas presents because that's gonna be the last time I can see her before Dubai. That's been the OMAD journey so far. This is just 5 days and I feel like so much mental clarity, you know, that's, if I were to sum everything up in a nutshell, I would say that my mental clarity has improved tenfold. I'm able to exercise the delayed gratification muscle more now when it comes to food. I will say it did kind of leak out a little bit in the shopping arena though. So like I bought a shit ton of stuff this week, but that was also combined with the temptation of all the Black Friday deals. I'll chalk that up to Black Friday this time around. By the way, is it me or does Black Friday seem like it's going on and on forever this year? I feel like we've been having Black Friday sales for the past 3 weeks, damn near a month. This is across all platforms, all stores like Amazon, makeup, home goods, appliances, everything. Am I living in Groundhog Day or something? Because every single day I get bombarded with Black Friday deals. But yeah, I bought a shit ton of stuff. In my defense though, a lot of that was stuff that I actually needed. Like I needed a new bigger suitcase for Dubai. I didn't necessarily need a $500 Samsonite one, but that's the one I wanted, okay? So that's the one I'm gonna get because anything else, any budget option that I went with would have actually been a waste because I would spend the whole time just wishing that I had the real suitcase that I wanted instead, you know? So when it comes to things that I need, I will go with the actual brand and the actual option that I need because it always costs, you think that you're getting a deal in the moment, but it always costs you more in the long run if you compromise on what you actually wanted. And then I just ordered like, oh my god, I ordered so much makeup. I ordered that new Tom Ford collection. I know. That one was definitely Line ads working its magic on me because Line, Line, the messaging app in Japan, they have a gifts feature where you can buy stuff through the app from popular brands and gift them to your friends. And it's actually very convenient. Like it's kind of saved my ass on a couple of occasions when I didn't remember or I didn't anticipate a certain friend's birthday coming up. And it's just very convenient, right? Because Line reminds you of everyone's birthday. And so I was able to like quickly just send a birthday gift to certain people because of that. So it's very convenient. But for Black Friday, see, again, this falls under the umbrella of Black Friday, so it's okay. We'll just call it a wash this time around. Hopefully, I'm not gonna, well, I'll let you know by the end of 1 month, 30 days of OMAD, if I've completely spent all my life savings by then to offset the discipline that I had to have to not eat more than a meal a day. But yeah, Line gave me 10% off coupons for Line gifts, but you can also send the gifts to yourself. See, that's how they get you. Because they make it seem like it's such a philanthropic kind thing to do. Like, oh, gifts. It's called Line gifts, right? So you feel like, oh, yeah, gifts. I'm a gift giving person. I'm so generous, making my friend's day. But then what am I actually doing though? I'm using all 3 coupons on myself. Yes, I did. So that's how I was able to justify my Bobby Brown and Powerpuff Girls purchase, which I have right here. Do you guys love this clear bag? Oh my god. So yeah, the Powerpuff Girls collection, and I have the palette too, but that's kind of that was a disappointment. I'm not ready to really come to full terms with that yet. But the packaging though, I don't regret anything for the packaging. So I got the Powerpuff Girls collection and then Line Gifts, okay? The sneaky little bastard kept showing me the Tom Ford, what's it called? The winter 2023 palette and highlight. And then at first when I saw it, I was like, that is the ashiest, most basic looking thing ever. But it stuck in my mind so much that I woke up in the middle of the night once and I didn't even know what I was doing. My hands just started typing Tom Ford 2023 collection swatches in the search bar, and it was pretty impressive. Like, it was one of those instances where I felt like, oh, okay, I feel like the real thing is probably a lot more stunning in person. Like, you can see a lot more dimension to the shadows than what's coming across on the 2D ad screen. And so I can't believe it. I bought the Tom Ford palette. Like when it was first shown to me, I was like, oh, I'm definitely not gonna get that That was before I even purchased the Bobbi Brown and Powerpuff Girls. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get the Powerpuff Girls one because that's the one with the packaging that I like. It has the nostalgia of the, one of my favorite TV shows growing up. And so that's gonna satisfy my itch for anything holiday related as far as makeup goes. But that Tom Ford palette, for some reason, it just kept sticking in the back of my mind. And well, what do you know? I bought the palette and the highlight. I have so many. I bought a lot of makeup, okay? I bought new brushes, like, for no reason. I'll chalk it up to Black Friday, and also we'll just count this as the first week adjustment period for OMAD. I anticipate that I'm going to stabilize a lot more by the second week. Hopefully, please, my bank account. I don't have any choice if I want to keep my bank account intact. So yeah, intermittent fasting, hit a plateau pretty quickly. Don't enjoy the aspect of having to control my portion sizes. OMAD, obviously the price to pay is that you only get to eat once a day, but I get to eat as much as I want, whatever I want. It can be as carb laden as I want. I can even have dessert. I can have all the things. The only thing I can't have is liquid calories, right? We established that. So I'm not going to have like a latte or anything. If I wanted to have a latte, like one of those super sugary drinks, like sometimes Starbucks does those special drinks with the whipped cream and everything. Not frappuccinos. I'm not a fan of frappuccinos, but yeah, like their specialty lattes. They have a pistachio one coming out for winter, and then also sometimes Lindt has really really good seasonal drinks, like thick chocolatey drinks. If I was gonna have one of those, I would just treat it as an actual dessert. I wouldn't think that, oh, it's the same thing as water. No, 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 no. Like that's 300 calories, 500 calories right there. But it's fine if I treat it as dessert because that's how much an actual cake would cost. But again, it comes down to I'm only eating once a day. Like I can only eat so much in a 2-hour window of time. So when it comes down to the choice of, do you want a latte that's 500 calories, or do you want this slice of actual chocolate cake that's like solid and it's going to be more satisfying? You get to chew it. Why am I getting the visual of Augustus Gloop? Is that his name in Matilda? The book Matilda by Roald Dahl? The fat kid that was eating all of the... No, 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 no. Augustus Gloop is from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Who is that fat kid that was eating the cake in Matilda? Bruce. Remember in Matilda? There was a kid, right, that he was like... He stole a piece of the cake that was supposed to be for the headmistress, her chocolate cake, and then so she made him eat the whole thing in front of the school, and then he was able to do it. But did he blow up? Or did he... I don't think he blew up. That would be too macabre for a kid's book. Although Roald Dahl is pretty macabre. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. If it comes down between a solid piece of chocolate cake that you get to chew and enjoy, or just like a drink where you feel, yeah, like it tastes good, but it's not as satisfying, which one are you going to choose if you can only have one that day? I'm going to go for the cake, Having cake and then 0-calorie tea is more satisfying to me than just having the $300 Starbucks drink more often than not. It's not to say that I will never ever choose the Starbucks, but like it just streamlines your decision for you. It just takes the complication, right? And it takes a lot of the emotion out of eating that a lot of us struggle with. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend. But the problem for you though is that you might not be motivated by the Prince of Dubai the way that I was. So you need to find your own motivation. And I'm talking like real motivation, not fake surface level, not like if you listen to Gary Vee or the fitness equivalent of that, yelling at you, telling you how to, telling you that you need to get up your ass every day at 6 a.m. and you're a lazy piece of S if you don't get your morning jog in, stuff like that. Like some people that works for them, but I had to accept a long time ago that that kind of stuff just does not work for me. I need a much more tailored approach. Yeah, I need inspiration in the form of the Prince of Dubai, apparently, but then also that girl Carmelita Fox, right? Like her videos also kind of awakened something in me because the way that she was talking about all the intricacies of how deep skinny privilege and pretty privilege actually goes in society, to the point where it not only affects you, right? Like it affects, like, for example, if you're a trophy wife, so to speak, or at least looks wise, it doesn't mean that you're sitting around doing nothing while your husband is working. Like you could be making your own business and whatnot. But if you look the part of like a rich man's wife, for example, you also elevate him. It's not just yourself. Like you elevate his status in the eyes of society too. That kind of stuff is what she was talking about in her videos, in her deep dives. And so that's the stuff that stimulates me enough to actually do something about working towards my goal weight. I also had to come to a realization with myself that it was me this whole time that was robbing myself of the experience of being back at my goal weight. Like, I can't blame any outside factors, you know? No matter how many delicious foods are available out in the world, how many people would shove food in my face, or if I was at family functions, parties with friends, all those people that would offer me plates of food and try to get me to eat whatever they were eating, it's not their fault, you know? I can't blame it on anyone. It's not like a blame game thing, but I can't attribute the state that I'm in right now, which is not at my goal weight. At the end of the day, it's it's me who was robbing myself of getting to my goal weight, because I could have done that anytime. I could have done OMAD. I could have switched up, you know, tried new things with the diet and the exercise regime. That's available to me anytime, right? Because I can control that aspect of my life. So now I also kind of understand too how people develop eating disorders. You don't have to worry about me ever developing an eating disorder. That's one thing that, like, I will never be oh, but okay, should I say this? We're at over 2 hours. Okay, yeah, I can say this cuz you know, I'm not ashamed of anything anymore, and I feel like the more vulnerable I am, the more it actually helps and reaches other people who are going through the same thing. But I had EDNOS, eating disorder not otherwise specified. I would basically, like, if I felt myself getting too fat or not satisfied with my weight, I would just chew food and spit it out. Yeah, like, it's really gross, but I prefer to do that than to make myself vomit, right? Or to starve myself. It wasn't about, like, you know, whenever people in the past would try to give me advice on how to lose weight, they would tell me all these techniques, or like what foods I should eat to curb my hunger, or even suggest pills to me that would curb my hunger. And the thing is, like, for me, it's not about feeling hungry, it's just about the gluttony of it, you know? Like, I just enjoy eating food. It's the craving of it for me. If anything, I would feel more upset if I had an appetite suppressant, whether natural or induced by medication. If anything, that would make me even more frustrated, because I wanted to feel hungry. I wanted an excuse to feel hungry so that I could eat, you know? So if you took that away from me, that would make me even more miserable, right? And also, like, let's say that the appetite suppressant drugs do work not only to suppress your actual appetite, but also to help take your mind mentally off of food. That's still not an ultimate solution to me whatsoever, because, like, if I were to give in again, I'm not judging anyone who need, like, whatever method, whatever journey or path you take to get your weight under control, that's your business and you know what works for you. But for me, like, you know, I'm not a person that's ever been morbidly obese, or like, I've never been remotely obese. I've always been, even at my chubbiest, I was always considered on the skinny side, right? Not in Asian culture, but in, like, US culture, or like even in Asian culture, I would be considered just normal or average. I would not be considered super skinny, but in the US, I was always considered skinny, even when I was at my fattest. So, like, I don't have the considerations of someone that was actually obese. I've never had, like, any major health implications or things like that. It was always just, again, kind of a surface level vanity thing. Like, well, number one, I felt really sluggish whenever I ate badly. And then number two, I would start to be more conservative with my clothes, which I also did not like, because I felt that, you know, I was suppressing or downplaying a part of me due to the way that due to my unhappiness with my weight. I feel like that's not dire enough of a reason for me to go for diet pills or any type of medication. But that's not the case for some of my friends. Like, I have friends here in Japan who, by any measure, by any global measure, they would never be considered fat ever. Like, on their fattest day, on their skinniest day, they would just not be considered fat. But because we live here in Japan, where the culture is so strict and towards being skinny, I have friends that have literally recommended me, like, certain over-the-counter appetite suppressants, or not diet pills. Like, one friend told me about this pill that basically helps you burn calories faster so that you can eat more. Like, basically, she was telling me, well, if you're gonna go on vacation and you know that you're going to eat more than usual, then you can use this drug from the drugstore. It'll help you burn the calories faster, right?
which is, I mean, I'm not judging if that's what she chooses to do, but I feel like if I had gone for that shortcut. So again, the word cheating comes up in my mind, and I know that I tell you guys that you should cheat, right? Like when it comes to your glow up or your makeup or something. This is different. I would feel like I was cheating myself if I went that route of just taking a pill, a magic pill to burn my calories faster, even if it worked beautifully. If I took that shortcut, I'm going to call it a shortcut, I think is the more appropriate term. If I took that shortcut, I would never have reached the point, like the epiphany that I did about OMAD, how it actually, like, it suits me because I get to eat a lot. I get to eat the way I like to, but the catch is only that I can do it for 1 meal per day, not 2 or 3. But I'm willing to deal with that cost if I get to eat whatever I want. And aside from the practical aspects of nomad, like I was saying before, also the deeper motivation behind why I feel so empowered when I do it, when I every time I make it to another day of 12 p.m. I didn't break my fast from the previous day. It's another way that on a deeper level it reinforces that I'm finally embodying and becoming the person that I want to be in all areas of my life, which is somebody that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? If I say that I'm not going to eat until this time, then I'm not eating until the time, no matter what. Not even if I go to a private fashion, highfalutin party in Harajuku where they have drinks and alcohol and stuff. I'm still not, like, I'm just not interested. Nothing is going to tempt me. Nothing tempts me more than my lust for the best version of me. And that is a powerful place to be, okay? And I want you all to get there, and I know that you all can. You just need to find your catalysts and your program that works for you. It might take a lot of trial and error, like it did with me. I had to do intermittent fasting, I had to cut down calories. There was a point where, like you bargain with yourself too. It's a whole journey. I had a period where I was like, okay, well, I don't want to give up eating all the stuff that I want, so I'll just work out to make up for it. Not work out in the sense that I don't like to jog and things like that, but like I would be going to pole dancing class, and I'm also someone that doesn't mind walking a lot. Like I can walk for 2-3 hours straight and be no problem. I just disappear in my own world with my headphones on. It's a great way to clear my mind, but time-wise though, it's just not feasible. Like I just don't have at the moment 2 to 3 hours a day to spend on that. Sometimes depending on like how busy I am that day, but if I really want to have time left over for anything else like YouTube, then I can't realistically do that every single day. So I had to find like the magic balance. It took a lot of trial and error for me to get there, but I got there, and it started with, again, I was saying that, I used to have I don't want to say that I had an eating disorder, but I guess it's what it was. Yeah, like I would chew food and spit it out whenever I had a craving, but I didn't want to gain weight. And this went on for like 15 years because I started to do this when I was in high school. I had periods of my life where I didn't do it, but then I would always relapse. Once I started intermittent fasting though, I stopped doing that completely. So that was the actual purpose of intermittent fasting in my life. I thought that intermittent fasting was the final solution to maybe, me getting back to my dream weight or my goal weight of 48 kilograms. But then I realized that no, intermittent fasting was meant to break my EDNOS eating disorder that I've had since I was 15. And then OMAD is the next step for me to finally get to my actual weight goal. And it blows my mind. Like, I know I'm saying this right now. The reason I feel so comfortable saying this is because I've worked through this already. Like, I'm not wobbly anymore on these 2 points. I will never go back to chewing food and spitting it out again, because I know that I have the ability to say no to food now. It doesn't have control over me anymore. And that's another thing, like that's another epiphany that I had while I was doing intermittent fasting. I realized that I have the ability to say no to food now. It doesn't have control over me anymore. I am not food's bitch, okay? I am not anyone's bitch. Food is my bitch. Like, food is here to satisfy me. Food only enters my body when I say so, right? Because this is how I operate with every other aspect of my life. I've already proven that I have control over myself in these other areas of my life, so why would it be any different with food? I used to fear food. I used to think that it actually had control over me. Like, for example, if I went to pole dancing class, right? Because like usually after a big workout, you get really hungry. I would feel like, okay, I need to go to pole dancing class because I feel slim today. This is like my skinny day, so I want to wear my cute outfit and do my sexy dance. But then I would fear, like on the way home, I would be like, oh no, I should only eat a salad or a low calorie dinner, but I know that I'm gonna go for like the heavy mapo tofu or like ramen or something. That's what I crave right now after a hard workout. Yeah, I would fear it as if it had some control over me. Like I'm just not going to be able to resist the temptation of the heavier dish. And so because that was the story I was telling myself, that would play out in reality, right? Like I would go to the konbini hoping, wishing, like trying to bargain that, oh, please just pick the salad, just pick the healthier option with the less calories. But then what do you think would happen? I would always cave in. I would always get the higher calorie option, the one that was more satisfying in the moment, but the next day I could feel it, right? And it would make me dejected again that, oh my god, I ate something heavy for dinner again, and so now I'm back to where I started. Once I have that breakthrough that food is my bitch and I'm not its bitch, that completely stopped, you know? And it's not to say that I don't crave things anymore. Like I do. Sometimes there are times when I'm going through it, okay? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's not the same way that it was in the past. It's not based out of fear. Food is a non-sentient entity. It doesn't even have consciousness. It's not an organism. Well, okay, maybe vegetables. Like at some point, meat was part of an animal which had consciousness, but food in its prepared state, ready for you to eat it, it's not alive. It's an inanimate object. Do I look like the kind of person that is at the mercy of inanimate objects? That lets inanimate objects control her life? Are you the kind of person, like, if I picked up a pen, do I feel like, oh my god, I'm so scared, this pen is gonna write like all my deepest darkest secrets, and then I don't have any control over my hands either, so my hand is going to photocopy that page and distribute it to everyone in the world, and it's just going to ruin my entire like reputation and my life? No. When I pick up a pen, it's a tool that I'm using for myself, for whatever I choose in the moment, right? And even if it is to like journal on some deep shit that I don't want to share to other people, I can choose to use a pen to journal that in my secret notebook that I don't show anyone else. Like, inanimate objects are there to serve us. We literally created them. They didn't create us. It's the same thing with food. It doesn't make any sense to me on a pure logic level for food to control me in that way. So once I made that breakthrough, I realized that it was all in my head, you know? Like, what was I scared of? That's very irrational, to be scared of a piece of chocolate cake, or to be scared of ramen noodles, or like a carb heavy dish. Finishing a heavy workout and then knowing that I'm gonna crave something that's high calorie, and then being fearful that dish is just going to spontaneously appear in front of me. Like, there's no logical connection between them. What's actually happening is that, okay, I have the high intensity workout. I know that the hunger is coming. I know the cravings are coming. And just like, I can sit through it. I can get through it. I can buy a bunch of low calorie drinks. Okay, I can drink my water instead. I can edit my YouTube videos. I can do my taxes. I can play with my cat. I can take a nap. I can watch Gattaca again for the 5,000th time. The options for me to do life are endless. Food is food is one of millions of things that I could be doing, right? And then the hunger, yeah, okay, fine, it's there. So what? Just deal with it until it's just a matter of like choosing to do something else with the time. But yeah, I want to leave you again with one of my favorite affirmations / reprogramming lines, and that is, I never betray myself. And that's a direct attack on food. Like, them's fighting words, okay? Whenever I have a craving, like, yeah, I want to eat this right now. It's right in front of me. Like, I know how good this tastes because I've already eaten probably 10 bags at this point. Sometimes I'll eat 2 at a time, but I know I'm gonna have it eventually though. All I have to do is wait until tomorrow. So why would I eat it now? Like, why would I continue postponing my dream body for this inanimate object that doesn't mean anything? It was put on this earth to serve me, okay, not the other way around. And I never betray myself. I know that my goal is to have my dream body. Summer bodies are made in winter, so that's why we're starting right now. Also, I need to be bikini ready for Dubai because me and my friend booked a room at the Address Hotel, which has the most beautiful infinity pool out of all of Dubai. That one is number one. Like everyone thinks that Aura Sky Pool is number one, but no, the Address Hotel pool is number one. And so there's no way in hell that like that room cost a lot of money. Okay, I'm very thankful that I have a friend that's splitting the cost with me, but still, it came out to about like $500 USD per person. So do you think I'm gonna waste that for a temporary bag of chocolate pecans? No, this is my reality, okay? Like you're gonna sit down and wait until your turn when I put you in my mouth, which is gonna be 12 p.m. tomorrow. Like I'm just not interested. Nothing is gonna tempt me. Nothing tempts me more than my lust for the best version of me. And that is a powerful place to be, okay? And I want you all to get there, and I know that you all can. You just need to find your catalysts and your program that works for you. Okay. Yeah, so I never betray myself. Why would I do that? I never betray my future self. But I also want to remind you guys, okay, so last thing before I go, this is not about beating yourself up, right? This is about finding a solution. You need to be solution oriented. And I know it's hard to take the emotion out of things sometimes, but that's why it's important to do your inner work first. Because I would not have been successful this time with OMAD if I didn't have a very, very healthy self-concept that I've been cultivating and nurturing this whole time for the past, I want to say 3 years actively. At no point along this journey do I blame myself or berate myself. Are there times that I felt kind of low, like you feel crappy after you binge eat when you told yourself that you were gonna stick to intermittent fasting for 2 weeks, but you end up binging after the first week? Yeah, you feel crappy, right? But don't use that as like a personal judgment. Don't use that as a launching pad to judge yourself. Just use that as information, right? Like, okay, why did this happen? Why did I cave in? What inside me feels like so helpless that I cannot say no to this plate of food in service of my ultimate goal? So no self-deprecation, no self-berating, just solution-oriented questions and digging, and write in your journal if you need to. Never give up on yourself, okay? You need to know without a shadow of a doubt that you're gonna win no matter what. Like, this is your world, this is your reality. No other person has any say in that, let alone an inanimate object like food. See you next time, and leave a super thanks if you're so inclined, or leave suggestions for future topics.